dreamers of dreams, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
According to Plato, the Greek lawgiver Solon journeyed to Egypt around 590 BCE, seeking wisdom older than his homeland. His destination was the sacred city of SAIS, nestled in the western Nile Delta, a site known for preserving the deepest secrets of antiquity. There, within the austere walls of the Temple of Neith, he met with high-ranking priests, guardians of a tradition they claimed stretched back thousands of years before the first Greek cities were born. Neith, their patron goddess, was no mere local deity. She was described as the mother of the gods, a primordial intelligence associated with both creation and war, and symbolized by the shuttle of weaving, hinting at her role in weaving the very fabric of reality. The Greeks equated her with Athena, goddess of wisdom and strategic warfare, a clear sign of how deeply they revered the knowledge the Egyptians claimed to preserve. In Plato's dialogue, Timaeus, the chief priest, addresses Solon with a cutting truth. "O Solon, Solon, you Hellenes are but children. You have no old belief and no knowledge hoary with age." The priest speaks not from arrogance, but from a place of ancient remembrance. He recounts how the earth has been shaken by many catastrophes, floods, fire, and upheavals that wiped away civilizations again and again. Among these lost epochs, one story stood out, the tale of Atlantis, a mighty empire beyond the Pillars of Heracles. This empire, they said, rose in great power and sought to dominate all of Europe and Asia, but its hubris led to its downfall. In a single terrible day and night of cataclysm, water from the sea and fire from the sky, Atlantis was destroyed and sank beneath the ocean. But was this merely a myth to entertain a philosopher? Or was it a veiled transmission, coded in metaphor, of an actual historical memory, passed down by priestly orders that had survived the deluge of prehistory? Could the Temple of Neith have been more than a religious sanctuary, but a repository of Atlantean knowledge, preserved in ritual, symbol, and stone? The Priests of SAIS didn't just preserve stories, they preserved chronologies. According to Plato's Critias, the priest described a civilization that existed 9,000 years before Solon's time, which places Atlantis around 11,600 BCE, the exact end of the Younger Dryas, a period of sudden global cataclysms confirmed by modern geology. The Egyptians measured time in Sothic cycles, tracking the heliacal rising of Sirius and aligning their temples with celestial bodies. They were guardians of what the Greek historians called sacred time. As researcher Laird Scranton suggests, the Dogon and ancient Egyptian priests preserved astronomical knowledge far exceeding their supposed technological level. Did these priestly orders inherit their knowledge from a pre-cataclysmic civilization? The priesthoods of ancient Egypt were not mere keepers of temples or performers of ritual. They were mathematicians, astronomers, physicians, and metaphysicians, engineers of sacred knowledge and guardians of time. The Greek historian Herodotus, who who visited Egypt in the 5th century BCE, reported a stunning claim that the priests of Heliopolis could trace the history of the stars back more than 11,000 years. Even more astonishing, they told him that the sun had reversed its course in the sky, rising where it once set and setting where it once rose, not once but 4 times. This isn't poetic allegory. Many researchers interpret it as a reference to planetary axial shifts, cataclysmic pole movements, or even disruptions in the Earth's precessional cycle, an astronomical cycle spanning over 25,000 years, which the Egyptians encoded in myths of gods rising and falling. Deeper still, in the Edfu texts, inscriptions carved in the Temple of Horus, we find cryptic allusions to a primordial homeland, ruled by divine entities. This island realm, a place of origin and knowledge, was said to have been destroyed by a deluge so violent it erased civilizations and their gods alike. The texts speak of the Shebtu, divine beings associated with the falcon, who survived the flood and came to Egypt to rebuild. They brought with them sacred knowledge, the words of creation, and technologies encoded in sound, light, and vibration. Were these beings the survivors of a prehistoric war? A conflict so vast that it shattered continents, tilted the skies, and left only echoes in stone and myth? What modern historians call mythology, the Egyptian priesthood called Zep Tepi the first time, a golden age when gods walked the earth and cosmic order reigned. And perhaps in their temples, behind encrypted rituals and hieroglyphs, the memory of that shattered world still endures. In the shadowed depths beneath the Temple of Neith, ancient whispers speak of a hidden library, a subterranean repository said to contain scrolls, crystal tablets, celestial maps, and records from a world that no longer exists. This forgotten archive, according to priestly tradition, predates the Great Flood, preserving the wisdom of Atlantean survivors. Some claim it was guarded not merely by stone and earth, but by energetic seals, vibrational locks, accessible only to those initiated in the divine language of creation. The French esotericist Albert Schlossman, after years of research into Egyptian cosmology, spoke of a sunken continent known as Aha-men-Ta, the first land of Ta. He described it as a technologically advanced civilization, annihilated by sudden deluge. Its survivors, led by their spiritual elite, made landfall in the Nile Delta at SAIS, where they re-established their sacred traditions. Schlossman believed that the priests of SAIS preserved this inheritance, knowledge of celestial mechanics, plasma energy, and vibratory healing, fragments of a science far older than Egypt itself. And here we must ask, is it mere coincidence that SAIS, the very city that transmitted the tale of Atlantis to Solon, also became the capital of the 26th dynasty, the so-called Site Renaissance? During this mysterious revival, Egyptian art, language, and temple design returned to older, purer forms, as if consciously attempting to resurrect something buried beneath layers of time. What were they trying to retrieve? A lineage, a technology, or perhaps a warning? Beneath the ruins of SAIS, sealed under silt and forgotten by history, the Atlantean legacy may still slumber, waiting for a new initiate to unlock its secrets. In the sacred cosmology of ancient Egypt, the Duat was not simply a land of the dead. It was a dimensional liminal zone, a gateway between worlds where gods, souls, and energies moved between planes of existence. The Book of the Two Ways, carved into the coffins of high initiates, and the pyramid texts of Saqqara, describe fire-spitting serpents, vibrating gates, and sky boats that carry the divine through cosmic corridors. These weren't mere poetic metaphors. According to Christopher Dunn, the Great Pyramid wasn't a tomb at all, but a precision-engineered energy device. In his book, The Giza Power Plant, Dunn suggests the pyramid functioned as a sonic machine, amplifying Earth's natural frequencies, tuned through resonant chambers and crystalline materials. Acoustic studies by scientists from the Resonance Science Foundation further support the notion. The King's Chamber reacts to specific frequencies with perfect harmonic resonance, as if designed to channel or manipulate vibrational energy. In this light, the priests of Heliopolis, Memphis, and SAIS were not just theologians. They were technicians, calibrators of harmonic fields, astronomer-engineers who understood how to manipulate sound, magnetism, and plasma for ritual, and perhaps technological purposes. The gods they served may have been transdimensional intelligences or ancient survivors of a lost civilization who mastered the science of frequency, geometry, and light. After millennia of conquest, invasion, and rewriting, the science of the Duat was gradually mythologized, coded into stories of gods, serpents, and celestial boats. But if decoded, these texts may reveal that the Egyptian priesthoods had access to a forgotten physics, a blueprint for traversing space, time, and consciousness itself. When examining the architecture of ancient Egyptian temples through a technological lens, a different interpretation begins to emerge. Many complexes appear to have been constructed according to precise geometric ratios, acoustic resonance, and astronomical alignment, suggesting functions beyond ritual symbolism. Some researchers propose that these structures may have operated as energy devices capable of amplifying vibration, sound, and electromagnetic fields. Within this framework, the concept of celestial gates described in ancient traditions may represent something closer to a controlled passage or technological gateway, rather than a purely symbolic idea. In this interpretation, temples, pyramids, and underground chambers functioned as nodes within a wider energetic network, linking sacred landscapes across the Nile Valley. Modern investigations by the Egyptologist Mohammed Ibrahim have drawn attention to hieroglyphic inscriptions associated with the concept of stellar gateways. In several temples, symbols combining the hieroglyph for star with gate or portal appear near ceremonial spaces, suggesting the idea of a passage connected to the heavens. These markings have been interpreted by some researchers as references to what may be described as a stargate or celestial portal. Particularly notable are carvings found within the temple complex of Temple of Edfu, where inscriptions linked to sacred chambers and ritual spaces appear to reference celestial gateways within the architecture itself. Similar structural features exist within the pyramid fields of Giza and Saqqara, as well as the monumental terraces of the mortuary Temple of Hatshepsut. Within a technological interpretation, these temple chambers may have functioned as controlled transit points, sometimes described in modern terminology as jump rooms. Underground corridors, resonance chambers, and precisely aligned halls could have formed part of a system designed to stabilize vibrational energy fields. Some speculative models suggest that crystals, harmonic sound frequencies, and architectural resonance were used to activate gateways, enabling rapid movement across vast distances or interaction with other dimensions of space. In this view, Egyptian temples were not merely religious monuments, but components of a sophisticated technological network, preserving fragments of knowledge that may have originated in a far older civilization, remembered in Plato's writings as Atlantis. But the story does not end here. Beyond the Nile, across the vast expanse of North Africa, the Berber people carry their own ancient memories, oral traditions whispering of Atlantean legacies, giant beings, and mysteries woven deep into their culture. Join us in the next
the dreamers of dreams.